The interview is the final step and hands down the most nerve-wracking part of getting into that dream school of yours or winning that prestigious scholarship. As someone who has personally done 8 final round scholarship interviews in the last year alone and been accepted into every single Ivy League that I've applied to, in today's video, I'm going to be walking you through exactly how to ace your final round interview by not only sharing the most common questions that you can expect to get asked, but also walking you through my process for preparing for a final round interview. To help guide today's video, I've written a free 10-page interview guide that has all the most common questions and all the biggest tips, so check that out at the top of the description if you want that extra help. Okay, first things first is we need to clear something up. We need to clear the air. An Ivy League interview is completely different to a final round scholarship interview. The stakes for an Ivy League interview are so much lower because you're generally just meeting with like one alumni and they're just gonna ask you a handful of questions, but mostly just have a conversational chat to see whether or not you'd be a great fit for the school. On the other hand, a prestigious scholarship interview, whether it's for like the Rhodes, the Gates, the Fulbright, the Schwarzman, any of those big ones, is an entirely different beast. These interviews are super high stakes. You're often in front of a panel of 5 to 10 experts. They're going to be grilling you all about your values, your experiences, your ambitions, and you have to convince them in a pool of typically hundreds or even sometimes thousands of applicants that you are the best investment for them to make. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to prepare for a high-stakes scholarship interview so that if you're just trying to get into your dream school, by the time you get to that interview stage, you will be so prepared for it. When it comes to preparing for a high-stakes scholarship interview, there are 2 parts to your preparation that you need to consider. The first, of course, is your content preparation, which is you need to know your stuff, and then the second half is mental preparation, which is the part that's often left out, but I'm going to give you a few key concepts that will help you to prepare. Let's start with the content preparation, which you can do by taking all of the practice questions from my interview guide, putting them into a separate document, and then just starting to write dot point answers for each of them. The biggest mistake that I have made and so many people make when writing their content preparation is they write fully written answers. This is going to make you sound super rehearsed as it has done for me in the past, so my new rule is what I call the 5 dot point rule. That is, every single answer you write should be able to be done in 5 dot points, and each dot point should not be more than 2 lines long. On the day of the interview, this is going to allow you to improvise, adapt your answers based on the new questions being asked, and most importantly, remain authentic. When you're writing your answers for these practice questions, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you is to actively think about the values or the mission of the scholarship or school that you're applying for. At the end of the day, they are assessing your ability to be their ideal scholar or their ideal fit for this school. And so it's really important that you understand what values that they're looking for and cater your answers towards those. For instance, if they value leadership, always think about how can you integrate stories of you as a leader, how you can integrate your principles and your values as a leader so that you can really be an ideal candidate for that scholarship or for that dream school. Once you have finished drafting all your answers and you're pretty happy with them and you've looked over them a bunch of times, you then need to move on to the mock interview phase as quickly as possible. Seek out your mentors, teachers, and friends, literally anyone who's willing to help, and get them to simulate the actual interview format as closely as possible. So walk into a room, treat it like a very serious interview, and do your best to imitate what you are going to have on the day. Over time, I've come to understand that the main purpose of a mock interview is just to get you comfortable answering the questions. It's just to get you comfortable interviewing again and to get yourself in that mindset so that you're ready on the day once you step in front of a panel of like 5 to 10 experts. The second half of your preparation is your mental preparation. And this is highly individualistic for every single person, like how you prepare mentally for a scholarship or dream school interview. But I'm going to share a few key concepts that I've learned over the last year and I think are just super valuable in helping you to succeed. The first concept is one of the most underrated concepts that I'm really only just becoming to understand as I've gone through all these interviews so many times over. And that is the importance of turning the interview into a conversation with the panelists. Most candidates treat an interview like it's an interview, as in they take it really seriously. But winners treat it like it's a conversation. Why this distinction matters so much is because when it's a conversation, the panel is going to like you a lot more because you'll come across as more authentic and the experience will be so much more pleasant rather than awkward and serious. Like, we don't want it to be like they ask a question, you give an answer. They ask a question, you give an answer, and everything's super serious. You want it to feel conversational and you want to like really appeal and show your authenticity to the panel. The way in which I've come to understand how to achieve this for myself is literally just being my authentic self, which means being slightly colloquial and casual. It means being brutally honest about myself at times, and then finally just mostly being positive throughout the interview, because that's what I generally want to project. This is something that I'm leaning into the more interviews that I start to do, and I highly recommend this becoming part of your mental preparation, where you just try to figure out how can you make your interview more authentic and conversational through the answers that you're giving. The second key concept is a super quick one, which is just to ignore your competitors, because all you're doing is wasting your energy. At the end of the day, all you can control is your application, the way you interact with the judges, and the interview you give. So who you're up against is completely out of your control, so just forget about them. The third concept is to go into the interview with the mindset that the dream school or the dream scholarship isn't really the be-all and end-all, as in it's not life or death whether or not you win this award or scholarship or dream school. My advice is to go into the interview with the mindset that you don't need the scholarship or dream school, and whilst it would be great to have, you are going to be successful irrespective of the outcome. Whilst it's super hard to do, having this mindset will allow you to stay relaxed and truly be your authentic self during the interview. And the final key concept to master going into your interview is to learn how to have a mindset of wanting to have fun when you are in the interview. At the end of the day, the panelists are going to be interviewing candidates for hours upon hours on end, as well as sometimes across multiple days. And all of these candidates are generally going to be so nervous, that it's beyond crazy. Everyone is so nervous coming into their final interviews. So if you can be super refreshing to the panel through just being fun, energetic, and exciting, then that's going to have such a positive impact on your interview. The way in which I've learned to make interviews more fun is to think of it as you have 30 minutes to speak with a panel of some of the brightest minds in your country, if not the entire world. So enjoy that opportunity, because it does not come around that often. If you can get this final concept right of learning to have fun and really enjoying the interview and treating it like it's a game, I seriously think it's going to be one of the most influential changes you can make to your interview style, and the most influential change you can have on the outcome of your interview. So that's going to do it for this video on how to ace your interviews. Again, get your content preparation really solid, run a bunch of mock interviews, and then keep those key mental concepts in the back of your mind, which essentially just are: be authentically you and have a lot of fun. And if you can do all of that, I seriously think you're going to stand a great chance in your final interview. As always, if you want one-on-one support from me, be sure to fill out my Google form, which is at the top of the description, because every single week I'm selecting one new student to help for free reach their college dreams. And then in our final video, we're going to be covering how to manage rejections and build resilience in this process of applying for our dream schools and these prestigious scholarships. Good luck.